Welcome one and all to today's 10-minute training. And right now we're going to do the high performance CV. This is a perfect CV, it can't be beaten. Now, this is going to be fast, so please pay attention, all right? Get rid of the distractions because this is all going to be over before you know it and you're going to wonder, what did he say? So please, super important, pay attention because I'm not going to spend a long time on this. This is 10-minute training. We're going to give you some information now. And then I'm going to start the clock and then we'll walk through the CV, the actual template of the CV and how to complete it. And before 10 minutes is up, you'll have been taken through the highest performing CV ever. At the end, I'm going to let you know how you can get your hands on your own high performance CV template, which has everything in it that you need so that you never need to write another CV ever again. You will always have the perfect CV for every job you ever apply for, including all the ones in the future that you don't even know about yet. And it will outperform any other CV you have ever had. Big stuff, huh? Okay, so here's a question for you. What is the purpose of your CV? Yeah, why should you, sorry, what was the purpose of your CV? Yeah, why do you write one? What's the point of that? Yeah, because for me, CVs have, and I see this time and time again, the CV has several flaws. Excuse me. The first problem is that you end up with several versions of it on your computer, don't you? There's the subject matter version. Excuse me. You've got your technical CV. There's the people management CV, there's the executive CV. You have different iterations of your CV. And there's that one that you sent to a job a while back and you thought, well, that'll come in handy for some future jobs. So you kept that one too. There's that one where you changed the layout a bit and you thought, no, that looks good, I'll keep that, and so on. And you end up with half a dozen versions on your desktop, don't you? The jobs you apply for in the future will not be matched by any past CV. And so the number of versions of your CV you end up with just keeps growing. And who here's got that going on? Yeah, I bet you have multiple versions of your CV, all of them ever so slightly different, and none of them perfect for every future job you're ever going to apply for. Yeah, so that's problem one, that the CV isn't perfectly relevant. The problem two that we solve is the content of your CV. You know, it just doesn't seem to be able to show you off in exactly the right light. You know, it's got some cool stuff in there. Yeah. But sometimes it's just a bit noise, you know, a bunch of things you did and it's all fine, all right, and interesting, but it's not necessarily grabbing the hiring manager by the attention. Problem three is the structure of your CV. It's probably based on a layout that was good, you know, some template off the internet or one you bought from a CV writer. Whatever you did to end up with the layout you've got, I can guarantee that it wasn't structured with the hiring manager in mind. Yeah, there is a psychological process that all buyers undertake before they say yes to something, right? And that process is one that you must use in the layout of your CV if you are going to get them to say yes to you. Which brings me back to my earlier question. What is the purpose of your CV? Why do you do one? And if you said anything other than to get you the interview, then you've misunderstood your CV. I don't care how in-depth a document your CV is. I don't care how accurate an audit of your work history it is. I don't care if it's a one-page resume, 2 pages, or longer, right? If it does not get you the job, if it does not get you the interview, then it has failed. Simple as, all right? By the way, that whole two-page CV thing is a complete myth. The only reason you've been advised to keep your CV to 2 pages is because most CVs are shit, all right? And no one wants to read a long piece of shit. So if you're in HR or you're a hiring manager and you're going to have to read a dozen CVs, you may as well read short shit as long shit, right? And I get that, all right? So I understand why that advice is out there. However, none of us have any trouble ripping through a 300-page John Grisham book, do we? And that's because John Grisham is really good at writing and can keep you engaged for many pages. It's not shit. All right, so I'm going to help you break free of the 2-page myth and allow your CV to be as long as it needs to be and no longer, right, to engage the hiring manager and get you the interview that you want. All right. And to that end, let's see if we can't make that real. Who wants to see the high performance CV? All right. Who wants to see the template that hundreds and hundreds of executives that I've coached have used to get their ideal job faster and for more money without having to sell themselves? Yeah, because if you do, here it comes. Add to screen. Boom, there it is. All right. Now, I'm going to take you through the layout, and then I'm going to take you through the content and then I'm going to tell you why you never have to write another CV again. Okay. So, first things first is the structure of the CV. All right. So let me just whiz you through. There's an executive summary at the top. Then there's career highlights underneath it. Then there's the career history. That's the bit you'll be familiar with. All right. Then there is, after you've done all the career history, there's a little bit there on qualifications, a little bit there on professional development, a little bit there on additional information, which I'll talk about in a second, a little bit on testimonials, which is like recommendations, and then there's a box at the bottom that says contact me, which most of you won't have that there, all right? And that structure, which was problem 3 that I talked about earlier, all right? That structure is structured according to a thing called the buyer's journey, all right? The buyer's journey isn't something I just made up. The buyer's journey, it's got PhD thesis written about it. It's got its own Wikipedia page. It's a big deal, all right? And it is the order in which you present information in order to get somebody to buy something, all right? And that buyer's journey is structured into 8 sections: audience, problem, pain, transformation, education, authority, social proof, call to action, all right? And the audience bit is in the executive summary. The problem and pain bit is in the CV or career highlights. You've got transformation and education, which is your career experience. You've got your authority, which is your performance and qualifications, both academic and vocational. Social proof, which will come in the form of testimonials, and the call to action, which is the contact me box at the bottom. And that structure is something that virtually none of you will have, all right? And no CV writer will do for you because it's a marketing thing, it's not a CV thing, all right? But it is incredibly powerful. If you present information to somebody in a different order, there's a dramatically less chance that they'll actually buy. If you present it to them in exactly this order, and only this order, then it is psychologically proven, PhD thesis, Wikipedia page, etc., proven, that is the format, the order in which people want to be presented information before they say yes to buying anything, right? So the structure of the CV, super. Now, I'll give you an example. Here's the CV, yes, all right? So we're looking at the CV now, and the information at the top, normally it's got your address on there and a whole bunch of other details. I just want your name and your number. That's it. Nothing else, please. Because I don't know, as the reader of your CV, the hiring manager potentially, who you are yet. I've got no interest in you yet until I've read the CV. But once I've read your CV and I think, yeah, you're a really interesting person, I've got to the bottom, haven't I? Yeah, the last page. It's no good having all your contact details now back on page 1, particularly if your CV is more than 2 pages long. All right, put it there right in front of me. This is the point in the document where I started to make the decision to get you in for an interview. So serve up the information I need, and the next step in my thinking process is right now at the bottom of the final page. Yeah. So a little insight into the psychology of the reader. Yeah. All right. Now, I want you to have a look at the career section. All right. And what I've got here in the career section, usual stuff. All right. I've got employer's name, employer's job, your job title, the dates you work there. That's all normal. There's a little corporate bio about the firm you work for, because I may not know who they are. I might not recognise them. That's fine. But I've got 3 sections here. I've got objective at the top. I've got a section in the middle, and I've got result at the bottom. Let's just move that up. There you go. Result at the bottom. All right. Now, I want you to pay particular attention to these 3 words, which, if you've seen previous trainings, you'll be familiar with by now. And those 3 words are purpose, performance, process. All right. As a hiring manager, I just want to know what's in it for me and how much is in it for me. Right. And then I'll get interested in you. And I'll get interested in how you do it. Most of you are attempting to impress me with how you do your jobs. And mostly hiring managers are bored by that. At a senior level, you're expected to know how to do your job, and I have no interest in micromanaging you. So impressing me with that is the wrong thing to do. All right. Instead, tell me what's in it for me, solving my problem, aka purpose, and then tell me how much is in it for me, aka performance. Yeah, the amount of benefit, and lead with those two bits of information, and I'll get interested in you in a hurry. Right. And that's what it looks like on the CV. What did you set out to achieve? How did you do it? And did you achieve it? What was the result? Yeah, the why and the how much. And if you break your career section out into those three bits, all right, because most of you got the middle bit in there already, the how you do your job. I manage people, I manage budgets, I manage widgets, etc. But you don't tell me why you did it. What was the output? Yeah. And you don't tell me how well you did it. What was the result of all your magic, right? That's what it looks like on the CV. So that's the content, yeah. All right, it's not it's how do you make sure because we solved the two problems now, which is the structure and the content. All right, and I'll talk you through some more content stuff in a second. The last thing I want to talk about is relevancy. Yeah. How do you make sure you never write another CV ever again? How do you make sure that every CV you ever send off is perfect for every single role? All right, and it's not by writing a CV. All right. Excuse me. One CV cannot possibly fit every role that you're ever going to apply for. You know that. One size does not fit all. All right. Instead of that, do this instead. All right. Write a kitchen sink CV. You know, one with everything in it, and let it balloon in size. I don't care if it's 12 pages long or 20 pages long. At this stage, it really doesn't matter. Get everything onto the master copy CV. Right. You're not going to send this master copy CV for a job, so it doesn't have to be any particular length or focus. In fact, be long, comprehensively long. Right? That's perfect. Yeah? That's necessary. Now, when you're applying for a job, take the job description or notes that you've made from the conversation with the recruiter or HR or wherever, right? And have a look at your master copy CV. Every job that's on your CV that is not relevant to the job you're applying for, shorten it. Right? Make that bit of your CV shorter, like one line short. All right. It may well be worthy and interesting, but it is not relevant to the hiring manager. So please don't make them wade through all the details. All right. Every job that is on your CV and relevant to the job you're applying for, just leave it in full. That's the good stuff as far as the hiring manager is concerned. All right. Now your CV is highly relevant, and it only took 10 minutes to edit that down from the master copy CV. So you just go into your career section, you look at this job, and you go, yeah, that job's not relevant. So I'm literally just going to write the objective and the result. I'm going to leave that in, and all this stuff in the middle, all those bullet points and paragraphs about how I did my job, I'm just going to delete them. And I'm just going to leave in there the dates that I worked there, who they were, what I set out to achieve, which is going to be less than a sentence long, and the result. And really, that's one line of, I was there, I worked there, I did a thing. It's not relevant to you, so I've skipped all the details. And the hiring manager is going to absolutely be delighted that you did that for them. All right. So instead of rewriting a single CV every single time, get a master copy CV going, and then go to your jobs, and every job that is not relevant, just bin all the details out. All right. Because the hiring manager doesn't want to read it. In fact, the document you'll end up with is really punchy, because the only jobs that are left long are the ones that are relevant to the hiring manager, which is going to make your CV seem super relevant, and the hiring manager will love it, even if it spills over onto page 3, because they're not having to read stuff that they don't care about. All right. And as soon as your CV is perfectly relevant to the hiring manager, no other content in it that's not relevant, as soon as it's got the objective and the results in there, what did you set out to do? Why is it interesting to them? What could they get to if you did it for them? And how much? You break those two out. And as soon as it's structured in an order that is psychologically proven to get the hiring manager to say yes to you, then you have nailed it, right? And that has got to be, hasn't it, a better idea than getting a single CV from a CV writer. So if you think you can now get a highly relevant CV to any and every job, because you've got a master copy CV, which you can flex the content of, and you've got some results in there, and it's got the perfect structure, then you are away. You cannot be beaten. It's impossible to make that CV better. So let's just back again. All right. It has all the info that the hiring manager needs, and crucially, no more than they need, right? Making it super tight and concise. It has all the reason to hire you because it's got the structure to get them to make that decision. CV writers don't know about the buyer's journey. It's a marketing thing, as I said earlier, nor will they help you avoid a single one-size-fits-all CV, because quite frankly, that's all they can write for you is a single CV. I'm not beating them up about that. I mean, CV writers are pretty good at writing CVs, but they know that a one-size-fits-all CV doesn't work, but because that's all they've got to sell you, they end up selling you that anyway, and I think that's a pretty crappy way of making a living. So don't spend your money on a CV writer, all right? Instead, construct your own master copy CV using this template and then edit it shorter for every role you ever apply for, and then keep going back to the master copy each and every time and edit that down. Only take you 10 minutes to edit down for every job you apply for in the future, and that way it'll be perfectly relevant. Boom, yeah? How'd you like that? So if you want access to a full high-performance CV masterclass and the perfect CV template, just comment now. CV masterclass. Post that into the comments, and we will directly invite you to that masterclass. All right, it's free. Happy to on me, right? And in there you'll get your own template, but also you'll get a 45-minute long version of what I just did in 10 minutes, which will help you get where you need to go. Every single section of that CV, how to fill it in, why you do it that way, so you understand the thinking behind it, get a result, and never have to spend any money on a CV writer. And crucially, always have a perfect CV ready to go within 10 minutes flat of hearing about a job every single time. You'll never have to write another CV. You just edit down from the master. All right. Okay. There you go. Woo! Lots of people have asked for that already. So keep them coming. All right. And we will keep that coming to you. All right. I want to help as many people out as we possibly can. That's all. Look after yourselves. More masterclasses are on their way. Take care. Bye now.